So hi, I'm Ken Zagman with Zagman Home Remodeling. Here we are at a project, an old schoolhouse that was built in 1919. Here it is 2019, 100 years later. Check it out. So here we are. This is the inside of the project. First off, with any project, we like to meet with the customer and we go through to really nail down what it is that they want to do with the project. In this particular case, this is a pastor that has purchased this building. He would like to use it as an outreach. So originally it was just an outreach, and then it was, well, what if somebody needs to stay here for a short term, maybe even long term? So then we ended up having to add things like a handicap bathroom on the main floor, handicap access to the kitchen area here. Then we added another bathroom upstairs and then a bedroom. First thing that we had to do on this project was the outside. We had to put in new windows and we had to re-side the whole outside of the building, including sheeting and putting insulation in where we could. We also had to put a new roof on the garage and both entryways into the building. We were able to save the old steel roof or galvanized roof that was on the schoolhouse. We were actually able to patch where the chimney used to come through the roof. That was very interesting, having to learn how to make it like they did close to 100 years ago. From the outside of the building, we noticed that the foundation was probably going to need some help. And once the inside was gutted, we were able to see the foundation on the inside and realize that the mortar has basically come apart on all of the stones. Back 100 years ago, when they made mortar, they put too much lime in the mortar. And so because of that, the mortar became weak and crumbled. And so we had to remove all of the mortar and all of the stones around the inside portion of the building. This here is afterwards. We took down every stone. We washed every stone, took all that mortar out, and rebuilt the wall and remortared it with new mortar that is much more stable. So that was a very hard project to do. We did it in the winter, and we did it without water being supplied to the building. So we had to bring in our own water and spray off every stone, which is a lot of work. But it's much cheaper to do that now than after, when the floor is all covered up, and do it from the outside. But he was getting mice coming in through the walls because the mortar had all failed. So we saved him a lot of money by doing it this way. The building is much more airtight, and we're not getting the rodents in here like we were before. The floor, when we originally started in here, had a crown in it of 3 inches. The center of the floor to the outside walls dipped about 3 inches on either side. So we went through and were able to match the front of the building and level the whole building out by adding a floor joist next to the other floor joists. And now we're prepping for a plastic that's going to go down. The plastic is a moisture barrier. That's what keeps water vapor from getting up into the crawl space cavity. Then another thing that we had to do was seal all the joists to keep them from possibly molding. This is actually required by code. And then we will also have a dehumidifying system underneath the floor as well, just to guarantee that we're not going to have any problems. So here's a neat thing that this place has. It has a storm shelter, which we thought was kind of cool and thought it'd be kind of cool to keep. But after a couple months of working here, we found out that it floods about 1.5 feet deep. Some months out of the year, it's completely bone dry, and that's when we originally looked at it. It was bone dry. And so our original thought was to keep it, but now it's become a problem, causing a lot of moisture issues. And for long term, for this customer to not have to deal with it, we're recommending that he tears it out. So here's an example of a treated board and an untreated board. The treated board didn't have any mold grow on it, and the untreated board had all kinds of mold grow on it. And that's why we, in certain areas, need to treat the lumber or use treated lumber or seal it with a paint. So here we are in the upstairs. We have now raised the ceiling up here. As you can see here, this here was the height of the ceiling before, right at the bottom of this. We ended up taking these ceiling joists out and putting in new ceiling joists much higher up. And then looking back into here, we'll have this will be a bed area or storage, depending on what the owner is going to use it for. And then what's going to be a second bathroom. It'll have a shower and a vanity and a toilet. There will be some sort of a doorway here that goes down either a ladder or a set of steps. And then we'll have to take out another couple ceiling joists to get an opening big enough to get down the stairs. So these holes that are in the wall here, that used to be the height of the ceiling in this room. 50, 60 years ago, somebody decided that they were going to make this a house instead of a schoolhouse and built rooms and built a ceiling in here. So it had 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and a kitchen. And then the windows themselves were also shorter. The windows were about half as tall. And now we got full 8-foot windows in it again like it originally had. So here we are in the east entryway at the schoolhouse. We put a new door in, we put new windows in. We raised the windows up a little bit. As when we first started, I realized that the windows would be about right here, which you would have to duck to look outside. And I thought that would be very odd, so we went ahead and raised them up. And then this will be kind of a sitting area where you can get your shoes on and hang your coats up. And then we also are going to put a sliding barn door on this for aesthetics and to be able to kind of divide this off that you could use it as a classroom if you needed to. So thanks for following us on our tour of the schoolhouse that was built in 1919. We hope that you continue to follow us on our journey to the end and watch the finished product.